So anxiously attached individuals and avoidantly attached individuals approach healing in a very different way. And there's a little bit of shifts that happens as they're going through that healing process. Let me explain. Leslie Wells, connection coach. I help individuals heal, thrive, improve, repair, and connect more deeply in their romantic relationships by looking at things through an attachment lens. So there's patterns that I see because I've worked with so many hundreds of individuals and couples between the anxiously attached individual and the avoidantly attached individual that tie back to their attachment styles. So one of the things that I see typically is with the avoidantly attached individual, before they get to me, their approach when their partner brings them a problem and says there's something wrong in the relationship needs work, it's not working, their approach initially is to put the blame on the partner and to create a negative story in their head about the partner. Well, the partner always has a problem. This person, is upset by everything I do. I'm just never going to get it right. It's all because of their expectations, their standards. They expect too much. They're always looking for something. That's initially what happens. But by the time they get to me and they're actually aware that they are part of the problem and that they need to do some work in healing, that completely shifts. And so their perspective in the relationship at that point, once they break past that barrier and have some self-awareness and realization, their perspective is that they need to do all of the work to heal. Very rarely do I hear really avoidant individuals, especially my dismissive avoidants, who say anything negative about their partner. When they start to have this awareness of their avoidant attachment, they typically are really in this place of self-loathing and strong conviction because of the damage that they now recognize with this level of awareness that they've done to their partner. And so they sort of put their partner on a pedestal at this point, and everything in their internal dialogue is how they can fix what they created or what they damaged. So when I work with people who are really, really avoidant, I have to remind them a lot of times that your anxious partner plays a dynamic in this too. There are ways that they're not showing up well, that they are contributing to this cycle and things that they need to improve and that they need to also work on their secure attachment. But typically, especially my dismissive avoidants, by the time they get to me, their internal thoughts are all surrounded around how they can change, what they can do differently, how they need to show up to improve the relationship. Now, the ironic thing is they have these thoughts constantly and they feel like a failure when they don't show up good and they feel awful. However, they go to this flight and freeze response, so they get stuck and frozen. So as much as they desperately want to change themselves, they find themselves within their nervous system unable to actually do that until we start our work and they've got tools to be able to do that. So they think they are the problem, but they also aren't able to move forward to fix themselves to improve the relationship. Meanwhile, my people that lean very anxious, so your fearful avoidants who lean very anxious and you're anxious preoccupied, their safety comes from externally, right? So we already saw where the avoidant, their safety will come internally. So what they withdraw into themselves to try to fix everything instead of getting that safety from their partner. The anxious individual is the opposite. They get their safety through co-regulation and from feedback from their partner that they are okay, the relationship is solid, that everything's okay. So what they tend to do when they come to me, sometimes they will be like, hey, I really want to explore the ways that I can show up different. I know that I play a role in this. And they do this even when they have been betrayed by their partner. They still are able to say, because of their anxious attachment, I know I played a role. Let me look at some of the ways that I contributed and how I can fix the marriage. That's an amazing empathetic piece of, especially the fearful avoidant who leans anxious. But what they typically do is they need to change their partner. So even if they realize that they play a role in things and they want to fix themselves, they also very much need the change to come from their partner to feel safe. So a lot of them will come to me, especially my fearful avoidants, where they are really in a spiral and they're like, I need my partner to change. I need them to do this need's unmet. There's a lot of anger, a lot of big emotions around this, but they need their partner to change. What's ironic is that they will actually do all of the changing themselves instead of forcing their partner to change. They really struggle to put boundaries in place, to hold those boundaries. They really struggle to speak directly and clearly with vulnerability and transparency to get what they want. They're not good at being very specific about their needs so their partner can show up in it. What they do instead, while they're constantly saying, I need them to change, can you change my partner? Can you tell me where my partner's out in their work and their healing? And they're constantly checking up on their partner's healing. What are you doing? Here's a podcast, here's a TikTok, here's this, and this. While they're doing that, they're actually changing themselves while they're saying they need their partner to change, meaning that they are the ones taking in all of the information. They are the ones trying to motivate, try to change, try to fix their partner, trying to set their partner up for success. They're the ones trying to control, and of course that comes from a place of fear, but trying to control the work of their partner. They're the ones that are making their needs smaller, making themselves smaller, questioning their own needs and minimizing them, rejecting their own needs, self-betraying. So all the while they're saying my partner needs to change for me to feel safe, they are bending themselves into all of these different shapes and sizes to try to become the thing that their partner needs in order to grow, develop, and rebuild connection and go through their healing process. So it's very interesting that both attachment styles show up either wanting to do all of the work on their own while actually making their partner do the work because they're frozen and they can't move. That's a dismissive avoidant or the really avoidant partner. And the anxious is doing the same thing. They're saying one thing and doing another. They're saying, I need my partner to change. I need my partner to change. My needs aren't getting met. But then they're doing all of the work to actually get their needs met and to get their partner to change. And so both attachment styles, whether, there's 3 attachment styles that are insecure, but the anxious and the avoidant, if we break them into the broader categories, each of those the anxious and the avoidant will really approach healing very differently. And what we have to do is we have to recognize that both people play a role in the dynamics of the relationship, and we have to be constantly challenging ourselves while also being able to really expect our partner to take on some of the load and some of the work. We can't carry the burden ourselves, and we can't completely put it on our partner. We have to find safety within ourselves while also holding our partner to the fire to be able to meet our needs, or we have to make decisions if they are unable to hold the capacity to show up and meet our needs consistently in a way that feels good to us. If you're an avoidant and you've noticed this and you're tired of watching your partner try to control your work, then put something in the comments that lets me know about that. And also, if you are a person who is anxiously attached and you notice that you keep doing the work instead of allowing your partner to do it, or that you've noticed that you're still leading the relationship and your partner's not changing, tell me about your frustrations about that as well.